Welcome to Needham School Spotlight. I'm Dan Goodykantz, Superintendent of Schools. You may not know that the largest, and some would argue the most popular restaurant in Needham is operated by the Needham Public Schools Nutrition Services Department. Joining me today to talk about our nutrition services program are four really important folks. First of all, I want to welcome Barbara Carol Conway, who works as a nutrition service worker at the high school, Ruth Griffin, our Nutrition Services Director, Jen Tuttleman, our Nutrition Outreach Coordinator, and Diana Mordini, our Chef Manager at Needham High School. And first of all, thank you, Diane, and thank you, Barbara, for welcoming us to the Needham High School cafeteria and serving area. So, Ruth, we're serving lunch at Needham High School and at all of our schools. I understand 3,100 meals a day for lunch.
Yes.
What else are we?
Together. Altogether, 3,100 meals, and we also at the schools sell a la carte items. At the elementary schools, we just sell yogurt and water, but at the other schools, we sell second entrees and various other items. But we also have breakfast program at 5 of our schools. We have them at the high school here. We have it at Pollard. We have it at Elliott and Mitchell, and we just started one last week at High Rock. And the most popular item for breakfast is smoothies.
And each one of the schools, students have an opportunity to purchase a smoothie.
Yes, not every single day, but most of the days.
Yeah. Wow. Well, it's a pretty dynamic, active, and busy place, serving all those meals and all those students every day. I just want to have the community understand a little bit more about it. Maybe, Diana, what you're serving at the high school is perhaps different than what's going on at the elementary level.
It is different because they both have different palates. The high school kids are older, they want like spicy buffalo chicken, they want trendy foods like pad thai, the noodle bowls, burritos. When the younger children don't exactly want the spicier foods, so they serve things that are more geared toward their palates. So I like it because I get to experiment and do fun different things for the older kids, and the elementary managers get to do things for their kids as well.
By the way, the superintendent's favorite lunch is the spicy chicken patty, just so you know. I think you know that. I think that's known. I will tell you, I remember last spring, I think it was last spring, having roasted salmon. What was that meal? Roasted salmon and rice and...
We did jasmine rice with roasted vegetables as well, because we started linking up with Northwoods Fisheries. They're downtown in Boston. We get fresh food from them. So we did that, and then also on Fridays we do coconut fish tacos. So we try to do different things with the fish that we get from them as well. So the fish tacos is taken off. Sometimes we try to change it, and people are like, bring it back, bring it back. The salmon, we try to do, I think we did something with dill on it as well at one time too. We do so many things, sometimes I can't even remember what we've done. But yeah, we did a few different things with salmon, yeah.
I think we were kind of surprised that fresh fish was going to be as popular as it was, because 10 years ago it wouldn't have been, I don't think.
Right.
At Needham, students are pretty sophisticated too, and then we can access
Well, I remember in my high school cafeteria getting cold fish sticks, so I know that
shouldn't have been cold.
Well, they were cold. They were cold. So, Jen, maybe just that. We're talking about salmon and fish tacos. What's the process? What's the thinking that goes into developing the menu for the elementary, middle, and high school level? I mean, is it just, well, we're going to make this today, and because we have excess this, we'll sell that? I think there's a lot more thinking that goes into it. Share that with us.
Yeah. We use the regs, right? We use state and federal regs as our basis, and then we go from there. What's on trend? What's really hot? So, for instance, we're doing wing bar. That's a new thing. So it's a really nice product. They can make their own. They can use their own sauces, make it anything they want. It's a plain wing. But wings are really big right now, and it's a really high quality, delicious product, and it's been really well received at all levels, even elementary. So we find new things that we like. Right now, we're looking into maybe doing some sushi possibly at the high school. I know we're
a la carte.
Crazy, I know. So we always try to find things that the kids want and that are healthy, and always to get them eating healthier. So trying to incorporate fruits and vegetables in anything we do, so that salmon bowl always going to be a roasted vegetable in that. We really encourage to try things different ways. So if you don't like Brussels sprouts this way, we're going to make them this way. You're going to try them this way, and I'll get you to like them. Or tofu. We have tofu all the time. Different ways with roasted Barbara's tofu master here, and we'll do it different ways. Just, say like, just because you ate it one way doesn't mean you're not going to, and you didn't like it, you're going to try something a different way. We do that across the board. And so we mix it up.
Right. And then there's the element of the standard things that we know kids like, especially at the elementary. There's sort of the comfort things like the chicken items that kids are just, they're real popular, and pizza every Wednesday, and have to have a hot dog every month, and hamburger every month. So there's the standard things that we know kids really, really love. And for some reason they love cereal day. So we have cereal day almost once a month at the elementary schools. They just love all the different options they can have.
Now, there are certain guidelines. You mentioned regs or regulations that both the federal and the state government have that we have to have certain nutritional values in certain foods. I do know that when I had those cold fish sticks in my high school, I could also pick up a bag of Fritos or French fries. I mean, deep fried French fries, ice cream. We don't serve any of those items.
No, we don't. I mean, there's a certain amount of calories that we're aiming for every single day, and we work in everything we serve into those calories. So if we have ice cream on the menu as a dessert, it's a low-fat ice cream, and it will work into those calories. So it'll go over the allotment. So maybe I'll make the main meal of something a little less caloric, so we can work in the ice cream or dessert that day. We usually do dessert about once a week, Dan, and that's kind of where we feel comfortable in that pocket. We feel like it's fun to have dessert once in a while, but once in a while, that's not the messaging we want to give. Is once a week. It's pretty much what
We want, and we call it on the main meal, we include it so that it's not something that you have to pay extra for.
Right.
We feel like everybody should be able to get it.
Right. So, Barbara, when a student comes to cash out, what is a student at the high school, and then what's a student at the middle school, and a staff member paying for these really nutritious lunch items?
It's a really good bargain for your money. You get the whole thing. You get the main meal, the main course, and then you get a full salad bar, all fruits and vegetables, fruits that are out of season. Every single day they have watermelon, cantaloupe, honeydew, grapes, kiwis, oranges, bananas.
And how much do I pay for that for a student meal?
All included in one price.
$3.25.
The teachers here
$3.25.
are slightly higher, but still it's a great bargain for year one, and you get everything. You have a full, unbelievable.
I will say,
wonderful deal.
and our servers are great about saying, don't forget to grab an apple or water with your meal. Nothing is really
Or milk.
milk. Nothing is left behind.
Got to
in that
have
way.
a fruit or a vegetable.
You have to have a fruit or a vegetable.
We do have the best salad bar in all of Needham. I was going to mention, it's $4. We just started doing all the roasted vegetables. Butternut squash, Brussels sprouts, asparagus, and the kids love it.
So is Ruth, our sales, we have this wonderful program, K through 12. Our sales, where are they over time? Are they increasing? Certainly with the breakfast, because that's increasing,
Right.
but at lunch, are we increasing sales? Is it pretty much stabilized? The high school students have options because they can go off campus and eat. You want to capture their attention here, and I know that you successfully do that. But over time, for the entire district, K through 12, how are we doing?
Over the past 10, 15 years, we've increased, not tremendously, but quite a bit. And in the school nutrition world, we talk about average daily participation, so what percentage of the kids that are enrolled usually eat every day. And at our elementaries, it's between 55 and 60% each day are buying a lunch. And at the high school, it's kind of amazing because it used to be, and typically for high schools, unless there's no other options for anywhere to go, for kids to go, it's usually around 40%. But we're at 55% approximately of the students at the high school buy lunch, and they're buying. A lot of kids are buying additional a la carte entrees, etc. And for the middle schools have the highest percentage. They're like 70 and 75% of the kids that go to the middle schools buy lunch every day.
Yeah. One of the things that I know is out there, certainly the state legislature is thinking about this, and I know it's been on the news, and that's this notion of lunch shaming. That the idea that a student may come through the lunch line, the student may or may not have the resources to purchase a full lunch for whatever reason, or their account has been empty for a while. In the past, in Needham, as happens in many communities, a student might get a cheese sandwich. But what happens in Needham? What do we try to do to accommodate students who may not have all the resources they need for lunch?
Yep, we don't do the cheese sandwich anymore. We did it very minimally in the past just to motivate kids to tell the parents to send money in, but it feels really uncomfortable for the cafeteria worker.
Sure,
It feels really uncomfortable for the kid, and it feels real uncomfortable for me, just on all levels. So now we, no child ever is denied a meal for not having money in their account. And we make huge efforts to try and communicate with the parents to let them know that the lunch account is getting low. We send automatic emails through our point of sale system to let parents know as soon as their account hits below positive $25, they get an email. Twice a week they get it, and as it continues to go down. So, and if we don't get response from those, we follow up with a phone call, and we do really, really well.
I think so. I think the data would indicate that our families are responsible, and our students who truly need that extra support can get that and get a really nutritious and healthy meal.
It's not the child's fault that there's no money in an account.
Right. So at Newman, at Elliott, Broadmeadow, Mitchell, Sunita Williams, and Pollard and High Rock, and at the high school, students certainly can avail themselves of a hot lunch and a nutritious lunch.
Right.
Barbara, I know that working in the cafeteria, one of the things that happens, I imagine, is at the end of a lunch period or the end of a week, there could be food left over. And then there's food and organics that ends up in the trash. Now, I know Needham is working with the Regional Transfer Station, the RTS, to think about organic waste and also food rescue. I understand we've initiated something called Food Rescue. Who can tell me about that? Barbara? Jen?
Yeah, at the end of the day, food that is left over that hasn't been put out for service is rescued. We package it up, label it, and we put it in, we cool it down and then freeze it. And then they come to us and pick up the foods and they repurpose it.
Now, who is the they?
It's an organization called Food for Free.
Food for Free.
And
out of Boston, I imagine?
I think they're based out of Watertown.
No, they moved to Cambridge.
They moved to Cambridge, so they now have their own site. They were using a church kitchen for a while, and what's really, really awesome is they get foods from schools. They also get from colleges, and it's all very food safety regulated.
Sure.
But they literally break apart with food safe chisels and hammers the entrees, and they make beautiful TV dinners, and they have vegetables, and they put have a complete meal, and they wrap it and they label it and they date it, and it looks like a meal that you would get at Sudbury Farms or something like that.
So they may take components of different meals that weren't served here, that weren't on the lunch line, but were in preparation.
From other places.
And then they put those meals
all
together.
You put them all together. And, they go to a lot of food insecure populations, even at some, colleges and homeless shelters and things like that. It's really awesome.
Now, that's great that it used to be that a lot of things had to be thrown away, but now there's this opportunity to save and actually help out somebody who's needy. Tell me a little bit about the organics recycling. There are a lot of apple cores and maybe an uneaten piece of pizza that ends up in the trash. What are we trying to do with that?
So we are really excited about starting a organics recycling program. We've been talking about it for a couple of years, but we're going to be starting it on at Elliott on the 17th, which is this Friday of January, and it's going to be a program where all food is going to be removed from the trash. So kids are going to be having different barrels to separate out their liquids, their recyclables, which are the milk cartons and plastic bottles and the cans from the sparkling seltzers and stuff. And then they're going to put food waste, which is any food like any leftover that's not all the way eaten is going to go in the organics recycling, and that's going to be picked up and brought to a facility that has an anaerobic digester, and it's mixed with waste from dairy farm, and it captures the methane gas and creates electricity. So it's a super duper green initiative that we're really, really proud to be doing. And it's going to be a little bit of a shift for the kids to not just dump everything in one barrel, but to really be mindful and thoughtful about where things are going.
Now, I believe students at Hillside have been doing this for years. They were used to and just separating milk and other products. So they were trained pretty well to do this.
Yes, and the food that they were separating out had to be really, it had to be a vegetable base. They couldn't have protein and things like that because it was literally being composted with a different organization. So now all food waste can be removed out of the trash stream. And so that's going to save money for the town and trash expenses. And we're going to start using compostable trays too. Now, instead of styrofoam trays, which the community will be really happy about.
I was going to ask you about that. Every year, a year does not go by when a student doesn't say to me, can we get rid of styrofoam trays? And I know for many years you've tried to see what different materials out there, but there is a compostable tray coming.
There's a compostable tray that's ready to go. It's 3 times more expensive, but that it's actually going to be composted, it's got a value.
And can it be composted in Needham?
It's going to go in with the food waste that's going to be taken to the biodigester. And I just wanted to confirm that, or mention that the styrofoam trays and the rest of the trash in Needham doesn't go into the ground in a, what do you call that?
A landfill.
Landfill. It goes. The town has a contract with waste to energy facility, so it gets burned in an energy efficient way. Also turns into energy too.
Right. Well, it's great to know that you've really thought about the entire staff about food waste, and we're trying to turn that food that we cannot sell. We're trying to repurpose it, and that's pretty terrific. Diana, I wanted to ask and make sure that people, I think sometimes are confused about this. Students sometimes get confused, although the students figure this out, but families might be confused. What constitutes a full meal?
Full meal.
Like, what am I paying for, and what do I need to get? What do I get?
What you absolutely need to get, well, there's a few options that they can get. It should be protein, fruit or vegetable, and a grain. So as long as they have those 3 components, that completes the meal. So if they want to take, say, a hamburger, you have your protein, your grain, you grab an apple, you have a complete meal.
But the 5 components that they can take that the USDA National School Lunch Guidelines is the a meat alternate, which is like the protein, the grain, a vegetable, and a fruit, and milk, fluid milk.
So
right.
The rest of it.
And you know, it strikes me, Jen, in your role as the nutrition outreach coordinator, I don't know that every nutrition service department has a role like yours in schools around us. So I'm excited that there is someone who's looking out for what can we do to jazz up the meals and make sure they are nutritious. And also, and maybe you can comment on this, do you work with the staff, with teachers, with principals about what that looks like and how we can encourage nutritious eating and a nutritious lifestyle?
And I'm around all the 8 schools all the time in the classroom, in the cafeteria, using it as my classroom. So sometimes I'm behind the line, sometimes in the front of the line, sometimes I'm walking around, talking to the kids, finding out what they like. How do you like the green beans today? Do you like this better roasted? Do you like them steamed? Whatever it is, just to generate conversation about things that I want to talk about. And they love it. They love talking about food. They love talking about lunch. I'm always saying the principals when we're there talking about the fun new things we can do. We do a bunch of contests with principals where they come up with a special meal and they serve. We do some fun stuff in the high school and the same. So we really try to get everyone involved. We're actually thinking about including some departments and teachers in the high school this year and do a little fun little thing in a couple of months. Getting everyone just talking about what's going on down here. We've got these new things going on. Why do you taste it? Or whether it's jicama or a banh mi sandwich. Just try something new, but involving everybody. Because everyone loves talking about food. right? I mean, it probably is the most fun thing to talk about, so we can have on.
Yeah.
We talk about food all day, all we do is talk about chicken, me and Ruth. So, you know, I just love talking to kids. I mean, I think that the kids are, you know, that's our customer. We need to find out what do they like, what do they don't like, what do they want me to try in elementary, what do they want us to try in high school. We listen to that.
Remember we had the recipe contest too at the elementary school?
Yeah, recipe contest, and then they won a spot on the menu as an item. And that was really super fun.
You know, it also, I wonder too, with all these students coming through the cafeteria, there are a lot of students who have allergies, some life-threatening allergies. How do we manage, what does that look like? How are we managing and accounting for allergies that students may have?
Well, it's probably a huge chunk of my job, right, Ruth? I mean, huge. So communicating with staff, with managers, communicating with parents, really working closely with the nurses. Everything that we have officially from the nurses is in our computer system. So when a child goes through, their face pops up, we know it's them, and their allergies pop up, and the staff will know what are their allergies, what's on that tray. So the good news for us is that we don't serve nuts, and most of the allergies are nuts. So a lot of it's taken care of because we know we're good with the nuts. And then we have some other things, obviously, we have to do with, as well. But we are completely nut-free in our kitchens, so that's really good.
We have annual training too. The staff has all annual training, and you know it is a big responsibility for the staff, especially at the register, because they have to know what allergens are in the foods.
Well, I have to tell you, watching the workers, the cashiers cashing out, there's a lot going on, particularly trying to get students through quickly and talking to a child, how was your day, but also accounting for the meal, looking for the allergies. They are really quite busy. And then the superintendent gets in line, punches in the code, only to find out that he doesn't have any money in his account, and he owes money. So that's always a problem.
Didn't
and I'm
you get
holding
your
up the
email?
line. I did get an email about reminding me to fill up my account. Barbara, thinking about being in the line, I'm wondering, can you think of any, are there any, I hope our students are, I think they are polite and cheerful when they're purchasing.
Really wonderful young people, very polite, very respectful. We treat them like we would treat our own children, or we would want our children to be treated. So when they're here, it's a comfortable place. We want them to feel welcome. We love them. We love their energy. We love young people. We love our interaction with them every day. And I can't say enough nice things about them.
And I'll echo that. I see that when I'm in the different cafeterias. Because I'll sit, I may not eat it in a particular day, but I'll watch and observe. And the way I see our staff interact with children, I mean, you described it, Jen, it's like a classroom. And that relationship that a student develops with a cafeteria worker, when you're talking to them about nutrition, and Ruth, when you're behind the scenes helping out, or you're in the cafeterias asking students, all of it is interactive. And I truly see that care that
we are all parents, and we treat them like we would like them to be treated by other people. And the give and take is, we receive it back.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty special, and as I said, and as we conclude here, that this is the biggest operation in town, serving over well, if you include breakfast, over 3,700 meals a day to the Needham community. And what I'm learning today is that it's at a great low cost, which is awesome. High nutritional value, and also the taste factor is also very important, because we want students to be able to trying different things, like jicama, for example, which I first tried at the Pollard Cafeteria several months ago. And then lastly, we're being really thoughtful about, and this is important for the community to know, food waste. Food that we're rescuing and giving it to folks, and to an organization that's providing it to folks in need. And that food that has been partially eating, we're using for organics recycling to produce some energy. So all told, from beginning to end, it's a great program. Thanks for sharing this with me today and with the community.
Thanks for asking us all about us.
What's for lunch tomorrow, Diana?
Tomorrow is spicy chicken patty.
Spicy chicken patty. I will be here. I will be here.
Wow.
Thank you very much.